A pandemic that's drawing a lot of interest from voters. We actually saw a record turnout for early voting across the country, and the Secretary of State says we are shattering some previous records here in Ohio. 3.4 million Ohioans cast their ballots before the polls opened today. So joining us live right now from Columbus via Zoom with the latest on counting all those votes, Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Lindsay.
Good evening. Okay, we're about to wrap up election night. So tell me, polls open at 6:30 this morning. They close in just a little bit now, and you had polling locations all across the state. Did you have any issues today?
Lindsay, I don't know if you can still hear me, but I lost your audio.
Okay, yeah. We're just asking, did you have any major issues today across the state at any of your polling locations?
Nothing I would classify as a major issue. First of all, we were just so thrilled to see 3.4 million Ohioans had already cast their ballots before the polls even opened. That helped us to make sure that we could reduce lines and crowding. We had a few instances here and there where counties, for example, had to use their backups for checking in voters. They went to the paper poll books instead of using the electronic poll books. We had an issue in Greene County where a voting machine wasn't working. But those are all the kind of routine things that you work through. And Ohio was ready because we had those backup plans in place.
Okay, now we had a record number of early votes, the absentee votes. So I'm just wondering, how soon will you have some of those counted this evening?
Well, we start counting right at 7:30 when the polls close. And as we've talked about, the very first ballots counted in many cases are those early and absentee votes. Now, Ohio is going to be ready to begin counting those immediately because in Ohio, we've been processing those for weeks. As they've been coming in, those early and absentee votes have been reviewed by the boards of elections. They check the identification information, check the signature, and then get that ballot ready to be counted. Compare that to states like Pennsylvania and Michigan, Wisconsin even. They couldn't even start cutting open the envelopes until today. So again, whether it's late tonight or early tomorrow morning, we're going to have an accurate number for you, but it won't be a complete number because, as we know, the ballots will continue to arrive over the next 10 days. As long as they were postmarked by Monday, November 2nd, those legally cast ballots all deserve to be counted.
How soon are you predicting to know if the president wins re-election in Ohio? Do you think you'll have the results for the state of Ohio by the end of tonight or early in the morning?
Well, again, that'll be up to the people of Ohio. One of the things that we're reporting right there on our live election night reporting website is not only how many votes each candidate is getting, but the number of outstanding absentee ballots. And if you have a large margin for one candidate that exceeds the number of outstanding absentee ballots, well, then you can look at that and draw your own conclusion. But again, if the voters of Ohio give a narrow lead to one candidate or the other, then it may take weeks for us to certify the result before we know what the final tally here is in the Buckeye State.
All right, a busy night, early voting, and then you had voting today wrapping up shortly. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.